Ladies and gentlemen, the match just started and he's already talking about transcendence. Nigeria is so good! What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, moving to have and keep it up at all times. Another fun fact. Here! Come on now. Come on now. Come on. Come on now. You know what time it is. It's peak every week time. Except, I've already heard two things. I heard this chapter is actually relatively short. So y'all will actually get a blow-up review that's probably under 30 minutes for like the first time in forever. Like forever, ever. Forever, ever, ever. So that's number one. And number two, this is a part one. So I don't expect this chapter to actually be that long. Oh, no. I've already said that. Chapter's 10 pages, part one, bada bing, bada boom. So I think that's all I heard. I don't think anything major is going to happen in this chapter. But the other thing is that we're on break next week. So it's actually not peak every week. It's peak whenever Nomura is feeling better. I think it's Nomura who's sick. I'm not sure. But I know one of the authors is sick. Nomura is the artist. Kind of doesn't say is the writer. One of them may be sick. Both of them may be sick. I don't know. I didn't get the full details on it. But regardless, hey, I'm happy they're able to get anything out to us, especially considering it's very hard to work when sick, whether you're writing or drawing. So thank you to them for even getting us to chapter 314, The Core, Part 1. And in honor of this being a short review, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's hop right into chapter 314, The Core, Part 1. Or Core, Part 1. Oh, lordy be, lordy be. You can butter my behind and call it a biscuit. This man, Olivier Aku, has already got his Metavision out. We're in the last chapter with Mr. Issa Giyoichi whipping out his Metavision, talking about transcendence. And now we got our center back, Olivier Aku, popping out his Metavision, them dual-colored bad boys. Golly Willikers, fellas, I think it may be over. Though, admittedly, no. I already said I was going to get to the review quick. No, I can't restrain the yap, I'm sorry. The yap is taking over. But I did make that my thoughts video about how I thought this match was going to be a blowout. But a lot of people, well, ultimately the poll that ended up coming out after the fact did end up leaning towards the idea of a blowout mostly. A good chunk of people really don't want this to be a blowout. A lot of people really want this to be like a high diff. So I saw some people say extreme diff. I've seen people say tie. And like, no. Okay. Here's the reason why I'm saying no. Let me wiggle my fingers and see if I can gaslight some of y'all into agreeing with, once again, it is a majority. Like, that poll did lean towards a blowout. But still, I've seen even a lot of the community talking about the idea of a high diff match or an extreme diff or a tie. So let me wiggle my fingers and hopefully gaslight y'all a little bit into why I think that just doesn't. Well, one, doesn't work narratively, and two, well, I think I want at least one blowout. And while a blowout doesn't have to be that big, it could be, like I saw people say, like a 5-2, or like a 4-2, or a 4-1, or whatever, like, something like that. But the reason I want this match to be a blowout is twofold. One, because it just never happened in any of the series matches so far. Well, actually, technically, we actually seen some blowouts. We didn't get to see them in full, we didn't get to see, like, full proper matches of blowouts, but, like, some of the Manshine games, or some of the new Eagles League games that people point out actually were 3-1s. They weren't all 3-2s. I got that detail wrong. I completely forgot that. I think it was it Barrow versus Barcha, or Ubers versus Barcha? I think it was PXG versus Manshine and PXG versus Barcha as well. I think those were just like straight, like technically blowouts, 3-1s. But the only reason I don't want a high tie or extreme diff is because we have so many matches we have to cover already, y'all. Like remember, we already have to go up against France, which is going to be a full match, presumably, but even if I think that's going to be an inverse blowout. We have to deal with England, which is probably going to be an extreme diff anyway, or could lead to a tie. And, well, actually, how do I let it? That's the thing. Should I just make another My Thoughts video? But I want to make another My Thoughts video on that, because I feel like it just be responding to that one thing. But I can definitely fill out 10 minutes on that. Let me see if I can just break it down here. If we're getting a tie, we're getting it in England. We're not getting it against Nigeria. I cannot agree with a tie for Nigeria. I actually think that's genuinely insane. For the multiple people who said they wanted a tie, why? Against Nigeria? A team that's already been transcended by Issa Giyoichi in the first match of the chapter? Number one, that's crazy. Number two, why would we want to tie because now I know, thank you to everyone who explained it to me. The way it works is that in the group stages, there needs to be a tie. Because I asked the question, okay, obviously, if there is a tie, we're probably going to get at least one here in the group stages. So, if there's a win, a loss, and a tie, who gets determined to win if two teams have that? So, obviously, I think those two teams are going to be England. I think France is going to win all three of their matches. I think Japan is going to win one, they're going to lose one, and they're going to tie one. And obviously, England's going to do the same thing. That's the only way that structure can work out. Does that mean Nigeria's going to get its back blown out all three times? Yeah, probably. But still, maybe not that blown out specifically for England, because if we're going to get a tie, Blue Lock still needs to advance to the world stage, or to the knockout matches. So if there's a tie, there can't be 2 ties against England and Nigeria. There needs to be one team having a definitive goal lead over the other, because it's the goal differentials that lead to which team progresses, as far as I understand from this point. So, in order for that to be the case, they kind of do need to blow out Nigeria, at least to some degree, so when Nigeria, post this match, gets some evolution, they can go a bit extreme diff with England, possibly tie them, and then both teams will have win-loss tie, but because Blue Lock did better against Nigeria, Blue Lock progresses while England falls behind. Because obviously France is going to make it through. Like, there's no way France is losing. So that's my thing for number 1, why I think it low-key needs to be a blowout, just for narrative purposes. If a tie is going to be implemented in the group stages, we're going to get a tie. The other thing, I just want to see a blowout. All right? Like, I know I'm technically doing my own people dirty right here for, like, wanting a blowout, but, like, gang, we're talking about transcendence in the first chapter. Nigeria seems kind of buns. Like, I hate to admit it. Like, I love my people. And apparently, shout out to the person who informed me that apparently in the U17, Nigeria has won, like, 5 times. Shout out to my under 17 people, dog. But, like, Nigeria seems kind of buns. And I think ultimately for Blue Lock to go high diff or extreme diff and have a forbid tie with a team that seems so buns, I don't know, that would kind of undersell all their evolution and all their development and kind of make the entire Neo Aegis League feel like a joke. Like, I know the Neo Aegis League was getting them to the world stage, but that's the thing. They actually experienced a proper world stage. I'm not sure about this Nigeria team. They seem like buns. I mean, maybe this chapter, or at least this half a chapter, will change my mind. But so far, I don't think Nigeria deserves a tie. I think they deserve to get their backs blown out. Coming from a Nigeria. Yeah. So those are my opinions. I feel like I didn't wiggle my fingers enough for gaslight anybody. But so ultimately, I just don't think a tie makes narrative sense. I don't even think a high diff or an extreme diff makes narrative sense. I low-key do want to see a blowout. Just to show off Japan. And once again, the thing I mentioned in that video, and I'll mention it again, the idea of Japan doing so well against Nigeria that they set themselves up as a true proper threat on the world stage, only to immediately get their backs blown out by France in the second match, to then go extreme diff with England, showing that they're still in it. Like, that seems more narratively compelling to me than an extreme diff game, a high diff or extreme diff game, and or a tie if they lose, and then a high diff or extreme diff game. I'd rather go blowout to blowout victory to blowout loss, to extreme diff, to world stage, to knockout matches. But I think that's just what I want. I'm very biased. That's only more time. Let me hop into the chapter. Let's see. It's just like our simulation. The Nigerian players are leveraging their physical abilities to make and receive outrageous passes, and then finishing. Okay. So they did watch ball. They did watch ball. At least seemingly by what Aiku says here. It's just like our simulation. So they did study tape. And very specifically, look who's saying this, our Metavision user, who also happens to be our captain and defender. He's the one who's like, yeah, we kind of saw this all happening before. But that's interesting. So they know ball. And it's actually very interesting to see that. Well, I mean, no, I'd actually say it's interesting that Nigeria is solely leveraging their physical abilities, especially considering they are on the world stage. You think they would know they need a little bit more like clean technique and stuff like that. Obviously, raw stats do go crazy, but purely specking into stats at this level of competition, I don't know. It seems a little short. At least it seems a little short-sighted. But I think Nigeria is meant to be a little short-sighted. They're meant to be like a sort of failed Blue Lock in a way, with the whole idea of Onazi being the guiding light, a singular striker being the guiding light, lifting up the entire team. That's kind of what Blue Lock is all about, right? Like creating that one greatest striker. But I ultimately think the reason they're a failed version of it is because the rest of the team just isn't comp to Onazi. Because there's no way Onazi should be the end of your defense and the end of your offense. Like pick a struggle, bro. Let's see. And I know that comes crazy to talk about a Blue Lock fan, especially coming from a Blue Lock fan who's especially an Isagi fan, where Isagi ended up ending both a lot of offensive plays and a lot of defensive plays. I know, whole lot of hypocrisy for me, boy. But it'd be like that. Let's see. Nigerian players are leveraging their physical abilities to make and receive outrageous passes, and then finishing by passing to their ace striker to score goals. It's a single endpoint system, and that's kind of the issue. It's a single endpoint system. So what happens when that endpoint gets locked down? Now, obviously, your boy mentioned last chapter the idea of Kunigami subbing in and putting Onazi on the leash, as we saw him just do in PXG versus BM. But at the same time, Really, it could be anyone who has comparable stats to Onazi. Though Onazi definitely does seem very cracked. Like, he's very, very fast. So maybe you wouldn't need to put a speedster on him. Maybe you put a Zantetsu on him. I mean, I'm not sure how big Onazi is. He doesn't seem that large. Maybe you put a Corona on him. Essentially, just lock down Onazi and take out their single endpoint system. I highly doubt, even if, let's say Kuso, who's an offensive midfielder, even if he can score, right? I don't think he can score as good as Onazi. I don't think he's built for that. So I feel like you lock down Onazi, you lock down Nigeria. Whether that be offensively or defensively, considering he's the end of both of those points. But yeah, you can definitely tell. Onazi's main points are not just his shooting style, like someone pointed out. Technically, his offensive ability is kind of trick shotting, which is actually kind of crazy to think about. I can't believe I didn't notice that. But also his speed. You can tell he's consistently leaving speed tracks. He's playing offense and defense. And notably, he's not sweating just yet. So he's able to get from one end of the field all the way to the other, and then all the way back, and doesn't seem to be fatigued at all. Of course, it hasn't been that long yet. But let's see. It's a single endpoint system. Second ball! As for us, we have an egotist system that can score from anywhere. We're different types, but we both play hyper-offense soccer. Yeah. It's just as we imagined. See, and stuff like that, too, that also doesn't give me a lot of hope for Nigeria. The idea that Isagi has seen, what, one play? Offensive and defensive, and he's like... And downloaded that and been like, yeah, you're done. It's over. Transcended you. And also that Aiku's like... At least, obviously, there's a new evidence now where Aiku's like... I know exactly what you are. We know... And notably, he says, it's not just, I know exactly what you are. It's just like, we imagined. It's just like, our simulation. It's almost as if they studied ball off camera or off panel and we're like, okay, so this is how Nigeria does things. They have an endpoint system. Just lock that guy down. Make sure he can never get fully open. Make sure you're always reacting to him and him exclusively. And then you're good. Notably, that's why I thought was the main core issue of Ubers. They just had Borrow as their endpoint. Meanwhile, everyone else there should have at least been one other endpoint. You gotta have some sort of mix. And obviously, Onazi probably does have mix. Who knows? Maybe he's ambidextrous. Maybe he can shoot with both feet. Maybe he has something crazy. I still do think Onazi is going to score a goal. I don't think it's going to be a blow to the point where Nigeria doesn't even score. But still, having everything centered around one man, while it seems great if the man is always there, as he says, what happens when he's not able to be there? What happens when he can't reach the ball in time, offensively or defensively? What happens when he runs out of stamina? What happens when he's blocked and locked down? What happens? Like, there's so many questions that all have bleak answers if the rest of your team is buns and none of you can get last names. If all your team is buns and none of you can get last names, and you're up against a team that has multiple people that can lock you down. Multiple. Yeah. It's just as we imagined. A clash of offense versus... Oh, wait. Okay, so never mind. So it's not... He says it's just as we imagine, a clash of offense versus offense. Let's see. A clash of offense versus offense. Nigeria center back, Obo Obana. I made a nice clear. Good one, Obo. Time for a rapid counter. Interesting, though. Rin? Getting... Dare I say... Come here close. Let me whisper to you. Rin getting... clip farmed? Hold on, I want to screenshot this right now and add this to the Ren slander folder. Getting clipped on from a guy you clipped on last chapter after getting your shot blocked by the striker? Ren! Buddy, look at the look of sheer horror and terror on his face. Ren! I may have to get to slandering. I know this is not worth Ren slander. I need what I can get, alright? He's basically unslanderable. Like, gosh darn it, I can slander almost every single character in Blue. Like, I can slander Rin a little bit. But, like, oh no, I have to slander him for being so much better than the rest of his team that he wants to do it all himself. Like, you ever go to slander somebody and it still ends up sounding like Glaze? That's every single time I try to slander Rin. Oh, he has the best flow in the series that he can flicker on and off at the same time to the point where it clouds his judgment, and he's literally too good for his own good. Oh wow, look, I ended up blazing him, even though I was trying to slander him. It is really hard to slander. I can slander Baro, I can slander Shido, I can slander Kunigami, I can slander Isagi to the moon and back. But then again, of course, it's very easy to slander the things that you love. But, to be the case, it's rare that I get some Rin slander, so... Yeah. This panel will feed the agenda for days. I'll be able to survive throughout the entire week break. Let's see. Time for a rapid counter. Or not. Okay, Isagi, Yoichi, where'd you come from, Buckaroo? Where'd you come from? Blue lock forward, Yoichi Isagi. Who's behind him? Who is that? Who is this? I actually can't even tell who that's meant to be. 6? Who's number 6? Is that meant to be Karasu? I actually can't tell what this is meant to be. I don't think it's meant to be Nico. Let's see. I don't know who this guy is either. Oh, actually, that may be Bello. And this may be Watcha. Who knows? Let's see. Huh? He responded so fast. You're good. He came to crush me with a high press. Oh, and Rayo popping out the back street. Let's see. Huh? Time to hunt. Yeah. All right. So there. But note who's been going crazy. Who's the one person so far who got caught off guard and clip farmed a little bit. I know I'm only like 4 pages deep, but who's the one person who got caught off guard and clip farmed a little bit? It's Rin, the one canonical non-Metavision user. Rin has a lot, but shockingly, the one thing he does not seem to have is Metavision. Which is funny, because he was one of the many people to have, like, Metavision allegations. But he never ended up getting it during PhD, and it doesn't seem like he has it now, still. But, so far, Aiku's, like, all according to our plan, all seems legit, all fitting into expectations. And then both Isagi and Rayo, 2 other Metavision users. I presume Rayo has active Metavision at this point. So, 2 Metavision users, who still haven't activated, by the way. We saw Isagi in last chapter with Metavision, but he's back to base here. I know I gotta stop treating... A friend of mine watched my review and was like, you gotta stop treating the Metavision eyes and the Predator eyes like it's Naruto no Jutsu, dog. Just because you can't see them on panel doesn't mean they're not activated. I'm like, I know, but I think it's funnier. I think it's funnier if I treat them like Sharingan and they just flicker them on for a second, then flicker them off and just keep like constantly swirling them out to keep their stamina up. Let's see. Huh? These guys. Wait, I interrupted myself on my own point. But essentially, 2 Metavision users come to lock him down. They completely predict Kuso's route. They completely responded right on time to where the ball went, even though it was a clear second ball. And Aiku isn't worried at all. He's smiling and grinning. All the Metavision users are like, this is all according to Keikaku, dog. You are not exceeding our expectations. Let's see. Yeah, these guys moved in ruthlessly like efficient predators. I mean, that they basically are. Like, let's be real. That I see. But I think it's okay for me to slander my own people, right? Because, like, I'm Nigerian. it always comes to the idea, like, I can insult those who I know better than I can insult those who I don't know that well. And, like, notably, someone brought up a very interesting concept last review in last week's comment section. The idea, and notably, I know this, but it's slightly differently interpreted in my family in comparison to the common idea that it goes around. The idea of this guiding light. It's not just in a unique case to Onazi and the whole idea of like a lead striker and a striker carrying the entire team. That's like fitting into the block narrative, but there is just the idea of the older sibling archetype in Nigerian culture, where the older sibling sort of guides all the younger siblings, and it's the younger sibling's job to like rely on them. And notably, I have seen this in certain aspects of my own family, where the eldest basically does baby and take care of and act as a third parent for the youngest. Heck, I'm the eldest, and for a good chunk of time, I treated my own baby brother as if he were like a son of mine. It doesn't help that there was a large age gap between us, and there is, actually, I think about it, there's no large age gap between her and her siblings, so I have no idea why my one cousin does this, other than the cultural reason behind the idea of, you're the eldest child, it's your responsibility to help take care of the younger ones. And notably, depending on how many kids are involved in the family, it also, like, staggers itself. So, like, the eldest take care of the second eldest, and the rest of them, then the second eldest will take care of those who are younger than them, if they're more after them. But regardless, on top of that idea, there's, admittedly, at least from my understanding of my own people, my own culture, there's the idea of a sort of supremacy and confidence in oneself in your own systems, even if counter evidence is shown, right? Like, it's very hard for me and some people in my family to take criticism. I think it's because of our sense of pride and our absolution in ourselves, which I do think is a good thing. I think it's actually very good to have a strong sense of self-identity. But with this over-reliance on this one highly praised, highly raised individual, the older brother archetype in Onazi, I think they've ultimately weakened themselves. And that's why I say my family technically does things a little differently, and I mean my family's in my direct core family, because ultimately, I'm not just here to take care of my baby brother. I'm there to elevate him, be like a pathway that he should either follow down, to follow in a good sense, or try to surpass. His whole goal should be to catch me, not just for me to lead the way. And ultimately, Onazi is leaning into the more traditional idea of just leading the way, because he's that self-assured in himself. And ultimately, by being so self-assured in himself, he's not like gaslit, but he's coddled the team to the point where they haven't had to increase their level of play, and they can rely on what Aiku points out as just basic abilities, right? Leveraging their physical abilities to make and receive outrageous passes and then finishing. They're freeballing it. They're freeballing it. And when your stats are good enough, you can freeball a lot. But not only does Japan seemingly have the stats, but the stats that they don't have are being compensated for by their sheer tactical skill and ability. But let's see. As Onazi says, Kuso, I'm here. Bro's like, well, give me that. But let's see. Whew. Nice backup, Onazi. Okay, calm little back pass. All right. So he was able to lock off Rayo and Isagi. Oh no. It's already happening. Oh, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Over reliance on one player, meaning you're always going to resort to that one player for everything, including your offensive playmaking, facilitating defensive plays, and all that. Able to predict that you're going to pass them and lock them down? That's crazy. Even Onazi's slightly caught off guard. Let's see. So ordinary. Your plan's too obvious, idiot. Karasu, please, don't call him stupid, please. Let's see. And he's the defensive midfielder. Let's see. Oopsie. Onazi, you have to have a more serious response than that. Let's see. Our coordination was suddenly rendered ineffective. They saw through us. In just 2 minutes, Blue Lock has already started adapting to us. Well, yeah. Well, you know, I feel mean saying that Nigeria's structure isn't that complicated, but like, it really isn't. Like by that first play, by Onazi being the opener and the closer, you showed your whole hand. You have to, like, the rest of y'all are kind of buns. Unless y'all got a secret second striker that hasn't been shown off so far, or unless you, Kuso, can facilitate in a way all your own. Yeah, that's a little rough. And in fact, in a scenario like this, we kind of saw how Kuso should have handled it last chapter. Remember when he was getting double pressed by both Rin and Isagi? And he very specifically was just like, yeah, no, and just burst on past them with his physical abilities. He should have done that here instead of passing to Onazi. That would have possibly worked. Even if he had, like, in this moment, instead of passing to Onazi just because he was there and he's everything, what Kuso could have done, since he has both Isagi and Ray approaching to the front, is he could have dribbled back, worked around one of them. He could have gone for Isagi again, the weaker of these two players physically, and then try to get past him, and then try to maybe facilitate a pass or do something. But the fact that he just immediately went back to Onazi shows an over-reliance. I think is going to be Nigeria's kryptonite. Let's see. So ordinary. Your plan's too obvious. Wait, let me go skip all this. I already read this. Started adapting to us. Oh, look at Hiyori. Hiyori's like, guess who's back again. Let's see. Here they come. Cover blue hair. And look out for another cross. Sorry. I'm a real bully, you know. Karasu. Where's your mole? Oh, wait, there it is. But there we go. Karasu's like, y'all are easy eats. Nom. Bro said, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack on the side. Yo, and holding him off with one hand as you flick the ball. Oh, no. And he's going down the right. Okay, so he didn't even have to switch sides. Is Chigiri? Did Chigiri actually get a mix-up? Is he actually... I mean, enough time has passed. Maybe he did end up getting a little bit ambidextrous. What is this? Let's see. Time to charge up the line. All right. What? The other side? And look at that. That's a nice callback to basically all of Chigiri's runs. This poor, nameless Nigerian character had no choice but to get clip farmed on. Let's see. This time, rather than to charge up the middle, he's racing up the side? Yeah. Because it's good to have multiple attacking options so you can schmick somebody. Even have multiple attacking options one side. And don't get me wrong. I think I'm being a little too mean to Nigeria. I definitely do believe that they have multiple attacking patterns. It's just that they all end at the same place. Meanwhile, Blue Lock has more flexibility, and most teams have more flexibility. The striker isn't always one who scores. There are offensive midfielders who score. There are wings who score. Like almost everyone can score, even in real life. And even I know that from my genuine lack of ball knowledge. So I definitely do believe that Nigeria probably does have other scorers, but I think the gap between Onazi, who's probably like the only true proper world-class player, and everyone else is a little bit too large that it simply doesn't work well enough, at least not right now. But let's see. Chigiri bursts down the lane, round past him. This time, rather than charge up the middle, he's racing up the side. Watch out for a cross! Oh no, I see it. Y'all can't see it, but I see it. Too slow, idiot. Yo, why are they are just foul-mouthed this chapter. Let's see. A no diesel cross too? Okay, Chigiri cut out the end line then. I see you, Chigiri. Another nameless defender getting absolutely clip farmed on. Let's see. Phew. Ooh, the meanest cross of doom and despair. Who's it going to? We got two right here. I'm assuming that's Rayo. This looks like Rin. I think that's Rin. That's Rin. And I'm guessing this is Isagi. Let's see. It's coming to Rini Toshi. We'll see. If that's Isagi Ochi right there, I doubt it. Let's see. Okay, ball's coming. That's the thing about having multiple strikers, dog. That's the ability about being able to score from anywhere with any player. Unfortunately, you made that wrong read. Who's on? Well, Onazi's probably Onizagi. But let's see. No, wait. Oh no! And he's got Metavision out, bro. Oh, he's got the Metavision eyes pop, bro. He reactivated the Sharingan. Oh, and that's the end of the chapter. All right, that's the end of the chapter. It's mine. Nope. So that's. Let me see. Where's Onazi? What color are Onazi's shoes? It looks like Nigeria just in general is wearing white cleats. So actually no, we saw a panel of Onazi's feet earlier. Let me see. Yeah, he's got white. So yeah, nope. So we're keeping up the I'm here thing. There's only one half of the chapter, and Onazi's here. Hit him with the nope. So before we break down what I think is gonna happen, let me first take an itty bitty sippy. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't an itty bitty sippy. But now this is a part one. More is gonna recover, and plus I do believe just all manga on break next week in Japan. So what do you think is gonna happen? Stroking the beard. I think Isagi's gonna read Onazi, shatter his ankles, and score anyway. The reason I say, because obviously what this is setting up is Onazi popping out the cut using his top tier speed and fantastic body control to get in the way of Isagi's shot. We already know Isagi's been in a scenario like this before, where he gets a legendary juicy devious scrambling up his cross, and then he's put in a scenario where he's being locked down. Onazi's probably gonna pick a foot really, really quickly and just be like, I'm here to stop you. And Isagi's gonna be like, I'm sorry, my friend, but you believed you could stop me when I've already transcended you? And then he's going to switch feet and boom, and just immediately score. Because I think ultimately Isagi not accounting for Onazi when everyone else has already accounted for Onazi, including, we saw, in fact, did we see all of our Metavision? No, not Nico. No Nico in this chapter. But we saw all of our Metavision users kind of reach the same conclusion, right? Aiku acknowledged the system itself having the single endpoint system in Onazi. He's a Metavision user. Rin got a little bit farmed on by Obo Abana, but still, these things happen. Isagi and Reo, two other Metavision users, immediately build in with a high press, pressing on their style because they understand how the system works. They bait Onazi or Kuso into passing to Onazi. Onazi tries to get the pass. Karasu, another Metavision user, comes in and immediately shuts that down. So ordinary, your plan's too obvious. So if Karasu and Aiku and Isagi and Reo are already able to see through all their nonsense, and then this cross comes in, Rin gets used as bait, and Isagi's here, having already transcended the team, and Onazi's coming to stop him, like Onazi would be expected to at this point. I think it'd actually be a little bit weird and out of character for Isagi to not have predicted this. And while Onazi's good, I don't think he's as good as Neo Ignis League, Kaiser, and Rin combined, who put Isagi in a very similar situation before. So I think there's going to be Isagi flexing his development, and once again revealing Nigeria's weakness of its overall alliance, because Onazi is too predictable. And I assume Isagi's going to score in Chapter 3 and 14, Part 2. That's my gamble. The other idea, I could see Onazi blocking it, showing that he has even more in the tank, and that ultimately the data Isagi gathered so far off of tape and his current interactions just aren't enough. And the light is a little bit brighter than they thought, and ultimately Onazi can still escape expectations, but I think that'll have to wait. I think Onazi, just as he made a mistake this chapter, right? He fell for this first trick of being there and ultimately giving the ball up, causing a turnover with Kuso having faith in him and passing to him. I think Onazi's faith in his own abilities and his desire to do everything is going to backfire here, and he's going to fail, miss the shot. But we already see that Onazi takes mistakes like these pretty lightly. I mean, he says oopsie, and he does look shocked, but he doesn't like seem to do anything all too crazy about that. He's like, oh, whoops. So either this goal that he's about to score is going to make him lock in if he does fail to stop it, or he's going to stop it and get overconfident. So no matter what, I think it's still going to lead to Nigeria's downfall, but I smell an Isagi Yoichi opening goal, first goal of the U20 World Cup for my glorious, handsome, legendary, juicy, Metavision wielding, handsomely defined king, Isagi Yoichi. But we're at the end of the video. If you may always see in this video, I mean, it's about to be, it's probably a little over 30 minutes, but if you may always see in this video, please do me a favor and leave "It's already over." Leave "It's already over" in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for watching. If you want to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that all you guys will see not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you want to have a Patreon below, you support me for as always $1 a month. The things like exclusive videos, other content, and more. Also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions here this series I am to review, ad variations of all my videos, and if you become a $12 Patreon and $12 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also the link to my Ko-Fi description down below. You drop 5 beats for a short video, 29 beats on video, or any beats at all, and any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off. I would like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Redwolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, Brandon Pade, J2MA, Guillaume, Buddha Uda, Alex Kenny, Enzo, Plant Crone, G Prosper, Swift Strike, Strikeman, and Autumn Mornings Lazo, Cree Panem, Super Flame Zero, Yuki Ally, and Azo2404. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our line art tier patrons: Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin Encarnacion, Dread Zoen, A+A, and Victor Raji. And then, I'd like to give a thank you to our Ink tier members: Austin Wimberly, A. Uchiha, and Shrimpo the Shrimp. With a long, juicy, thick, hefty thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Joaquin Munoz and Joaquin Munoz. With a final Genshuin legendary super grundeliumptious thank you to our glorious, legendary, handsome, Kashimo Glazing King, Calvin Elder.